Wow, almost timed that perfectly with the ending of the music. Here I am. It's me, Mitch. Seems like I just saw all of you. Wow. It's good to be here again. Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock. And boy, I had a nice crowd. Nice crowd this morning in that live stream. I don't know if it's something I can continue to count on or not. I don't think so. YouTube doesn't treat you that way. It's like a roller coaster. You get a big day one day and you say, wow, that's it, I've arrived. Things are going, I'm building my channel, and the next day nobody shows up. So we're all fickle. I guess we need something new and exciting. But it is what it is, and we keep on going. So for those of you that are here this afternoon, and so far, right at the starting gate, 58 of you, which I think is about normal, about usual for Saturday afternoon. And see the chats going by. I had heard that earlier, I heard Curry was having an event at his place in up there at 3 o'clock, but happy to find out that that's 3 o'clock Central Time. So if nothing else, before everybody bails on me to go see Curry, we may have an hour. Whatever it is, it is. I like Curry, and if I was anywhere in the neighborhood, I'd probably be going to his event. I understand it's going to be at his theater up there. So I hope it's a big success, and wishing him a lot of good luck on that. And we'll see what happens to my crowd at 3 o'clock. So this may go for an hour if everybody bails, or we'll hang in here for the whole 2. It's up to you. Up to you. I had some thoughts on the morning coffee live stream this morning. The attendance was very good. It's going to be interesting to see when the total view count is added up between the live stream views and the replay views. If I hit about the average that I normally hit on my regular morning coffee with Mitch videos, because I don't know if it's better to do regular videos or it's better to do live streams, or it doesn't matter based on, what drives the YouTube algorithm and hence the ad revenue and everything else that you get. So I'll have to take a look at that. As it stands, I'm going to do another one tomorrow morning because I want to get a couple of those under my belt. And I've been thinking about various different ways to do this. So chime in if you've got any thoughts on the matter. I thought maybe I'd alternate a morning coffee live stream with the normal morning coffee video. A couple of reasons. Number one, if I lock myself in to an 8:30 every morning live stream, then that really kind of cripples my shopping times at Sam's Club, because I go at 8 o'clock in the morning, and many other things that I sometimes need to get accomplished at 8 o'clock or between 8 and 9. And if I'm absolutely locked into a set schedule like that, it's going to crimp my style, so to speak. When I do the morning talks, I could actually get it filmed at 7 o'clock, be done, be off to Sam's, get my shopping done, come home, edit it, and whenever I get it posted, it gets posted. So I was thinking maybe, and this is a thought, and I think with tomorrow as an exception, I'm going to do one tomorrow. I think the most sane, because all of this is insane anyway, but I think the most sane thing for me to do would be not do 2 live streams in any single day. I think that's a bit much. That's too much of me. There is such a thing as overload as well. So I thought Monday Wednesday, and Friday mornings, I would do a live morning coffee. And the other 4 mornings, or let's say 3 of the other 4 mornings, when I'm not doing a live stream, I'll make sure that I do my normal, sit on the couch, talk for a while, have some coffee, puff on a cigar, musical lighter, and just post it like I normally do. That leaves one extra day where I'll reserve creator's choice. I can either do a live stream that day, I can do a video that day, or I could take the day off. So I think that's tentatively based on, I've been thinking about it ever since the stream ended this morning. I think tentatively that's what I'm going to do. So that's what you can expect. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'll go live. And of course, it all depends on you. It depends on what you're interested in, what you watch. There's no sense me doing something if nobody's interested in it. And I can always tell what the interest is by the view counts. It's not hard. And one thing about being on YouTube is you can't just settle into any kind of routine, because that routine can get obsolete or out of favor very, very quickly. I see that everybody's chatting with Ellen up there in Wisconsin on the way to see Curry. And I told you in a comment, Ellen, and I understand Kiltz is going to be there. Make sure if you get to, I'm sure you'll get to meet both of them. You say that I am with them there in spirit. And I forgive them for interrupting my live stream. Okay? Tell them it's okay. It's okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they're concerned about me and my little live stream, but I like both of those guys. They're both great guys. Both wildly different guys, too, but great guys. And I'm hoping that Kiltsy will come over to our meetup on the 25th down here. And now that the storm has settled down and everything is great, we got a couple weeks to go. Before that meetup. It's on the 15th. No, it's on the 25th. Today is the 12th. Yeah, it's just about 2 weeks. 2 weeks from yesterday, I think. Yeah. Is it a Friday? I think so. I'll start talking more about it, making more plans, and we'll make sure we get a good count on who's coming. So if you think you're going to come to that in Melbourne, Florida on the 25th at 11:30 in the morning, email me, oldguycarnivore@gmail.com. Email me and let me know you're coming and how many of you there are going to be. If you think you might come, tell me that. I might come. But if you're absolutely coming, RSVP to me. We need to have that information for the restaurant a few days in advance. Touramir, I'll be in the U.S. at least from November 1st to November 15th, probably the whole month of November. Good. We'll wave at you when you get here. Ellen is doing more chatting than I am here. That's cool. Lisa Booze shows up, says, welcome to channel support. I thought you managed to get, the other night, I thought you managed to get connected. Anyway, it showed up again today. So Lisa, if you're out there, welcome. I said a lot this morning, which is why I don't think I need to do two live streams at any given day, because there's only so much to say. Got a few little video clips to show you this afternoon from my adventures in the hurricane. Just a couple of short clips of us clowning around when the wind started to blow it in the dark out there behind the house near where the pool is. And other than that, let me start saying hello to some people. United Carnivore, first one in. How you doing, Michael Seeley? Tourmir's here early. How you doing, Tourmir? Good to see you. And the two of them were talking back and forth. Mark Booth. Mark, how you doing? Haven't seen you since this morning. Naruto Kun is there. Hi there, Mitch, and everyone else. Nick Sheeson came in. Nick came in at about 2:33. And my buddy Jody Drone Shots is here. Hi, Jody. How you doing, my friend? Always good to see you. And CB Carmack. Sheriff CB from Alabama. Good afternoon, Professor, and all the Meathead family. Yes, sir. Lori Weitzel's here. Tink. Matheny, how you doing, Tink? Hello, everybody from East Texas in the Troop area. Good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see who else popped in since then that I haven't said hello to. Ellen, are you doing? She's saying hi to everybody. And Naruto Scooby, Mark Booz, Naruto Scooby, you guys. Here's Mike Seeley Sr., father of United Carnivore from here in Melbourne. Hi, Michael. How you doing? Glad you could make it today. I don't see as many names that I don't recognize. That was really something this morning to see so many new people, so many Europeans and people that stumbled on this channel for one reason or another. And it was great. I think we got up well over 200 viewers at one time, which, other than the one live stream I did during the storm from my son's house, where I actually got up to 330 people at one time, that was kind of a record live stream for me this morning. I don't expect it to keep up with those numbers, but it was gratifying. It was gratifying. Moorhen, how you doing from across the pond? Good to see you. Boyd Lamb is here. Hi, Boyd. Hi, Boyd. And Simon Brown. Oh, happy days. Peter, Papa Carnivore is here saying hi to everybody. Gregory Smith is here. How you doing? BMAT is here. OGC TV. Yes, 24/7. There you go. I'm going to start a new cable news channel. That sounds like an awful lot of work. Margie Graves. Margie is my wife. I'm Bill. I'm just on her tablet. Glad you cleared that up, Bill. Welcome. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Peter Kruger from South Africa is here. How you doing? And Lisa Booth chimed in. Hi, she says. Good. And not to be outdone, another Lisa Russell from Albany, Georgia. I'm just going down the chat here. I think I said hi. Anyone left the oven on? Simon Brown. How you doing, Simon? Steve Studley. Good to see you. Morning Coffee with Mitch Live is a huge hit. I'm glad you think so. We'll see how you all feel after 2 or 3 days of that, and hopefully it'll be fun. I didn't intend for it to go over an hour, but when you get going on these live streams and we get talking to each other and I get interacting with you all in the chat, the time just flies. Stephen Albeck, how you doing? Enjoyed the last live chat. Was awesome. Thank you, sir. Thanks so much. Rose Borgman says good day. Lise Weberg, how you doing, Lise? Good to see you. Anthony S. is here. Where are you, Anthony? I'm frying some beef patties right now. So I'm going to have for dinner after this is over. About a pound of ground beef. Had my humongous helping of bacon and eggs today, and that's going to be it. That's going to be it for me today. Grandma Prepper from South Carolina. How you doing? Good to see you. Trucking Carnivore is here in Texas. And Satya. Hey, how you doing, Satya? Hi, friends. FYI, there's a wonderful interview of Michaela Fuller Peterson with Hal Kramer of the Paradise for Parents I found on X. All right, thank you. Thank you for letting everybody know. Tammy Petarch is here. Good afternoon to you. And I just keep going down here a little while. I think I said hi to BMAT, but if I hadn't, there you go. Everybody's saying hi to everybody. And there's Mark Booz, and there's Lisa Booz, his wife, and there's the notice that I was talking about where she became a private community member. Wanda Gerling. Hello all. Hope everyone is having a wonderful weekend. Well, we are so far. The weather is gorgeous. The weather's gorgeous. Sunny, calm, cool, not hot, not too hot out. It's great. Hard to believe what only 2 days ago was going through here. Looking for new arrivals. I see all the same people just chatting back and forth. Tammy says, at Old Guy Carnivore, I thought it was great. Keep in mind it was Saturday morning, so maybe weekends and a couple days a week. Yeah, I'm thinking Monday, Wednesday, and Friday because I don't have live streams on those days. So I do the live stream in the morning, throw a video out this afternoon, either a cooking video or some aspect of carnivore, a walking video, or just to throw some variety into it. And on Tuesday and Thursday mornings, when I have my live streams, I will just sit out on my couch early and just record the kind of video I have been doing. And I'm up. What episode am I up to? 45 or 40? Anyway, it's been a long string of those things. So I think that's what I'll do. But you can't make any plans set them in stone in this deal. You have to get your cues from what people will accept and people will respond to. And there's no sense continuing to do something if nobody's really responding the way you would like them to. CYN says, hello, almost missed it again. Well, you didn't. You're here now. Good to see you. Good to see you. Same names, same names, same names. Jesse Farmer, how you doing? Good day to you. I think I've said hi to everybody that I see going by here, but if you'll bear with me, I'll take a few more minutes and take a look. Stephen Allback, Tammy, Sin, Scooby, Papa. Here's the new one, Saber Truth, new to UK Carnivore, 3 weeks in. Feeling better, have severe iron deficiency anemia. Doctors, useless, couldn't find a cause, so taking it on myself to heal. Well, good luck. Good luck, Saber Truth. Stick around. Keep in touch over the coming weeks or months, and let us know what you've discovered and what has worked for you. Hopefully you'll find something. I think just eating a lot more red meat couldn't hurt. Couldn't hurt in any way. But my daughter has the same problem, and it's something you have to get to the heart of. And it's very, very tricky to figure out pretty much where you're leaking is what it amounts to. Bruce Langworthy, B-Man. Hello, everybody. How you doing? I think I said hi to Lori Weitzel. If not, I'll say hi again. Favorite Lamson. And here's my food addiction. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Still like that name. Let's see what else we got here. Lake Girl. Hi, Lake Girl. It's a beautiful day in west central Minnesota. Are you going to see Curry? I don't know where he is, what part of Minnesota is he in, but I know he's in Minnesota. At least I'm pretty sure he's in Minnesota. Ellen says, I should have left early this morning because there are a lot of great farm stands up here. I just saw a sign for soup chickens, good non-toxic stuff from the Amish. Well, that's cool. You're having yourself quite an adventure there, Ellen. Sounds like fun. Sounds like fun. New York Dan. Greetings from New York Dan channel. How you doing? Good to see you, Dan. I'm sure there's got to be one or two new people before I get to the bottom of this thing. But Carnivore, Grandma Prepper, Boyd Lamb, Lake Girl, Booze, McSheeson, Scooby, Papa, Food Addiction, Laurie, I think. Ann Wright, how you doing, Ann? From the UK said hi. Good to see you. Good to see you. And we also have Saber Truth. Saber Truth, a new member of the channel. Welcome. Welcome. And My Food Addiction, it says. Also a new member. Welcome, guys. Welcome. I don't know if you already signed up before and it just got around to showing your name or you just signed up now, but glad to have you. Thursday night, the private live stream is definitely going to be private this coming week. All the technical difficulties are over. The storm is over. So we're going to go back to normal on that thing and look forward to having you there. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll enjoy it. And that takes me down to the bottom of the chat. Anybody has any questions for me, put a QQQ in front of them, and I'll try my best to see if I could answer them. I haven't seen any yet. Haven't seen any yet. But I think I said hi to everybody. I see we have Anthony here. Hi, Anthony. My triglycerides to HDL is 2.2. Is that bad? No. Is it? Ideally, it's 2 to 1, I believe, is 2 to 1. 2.0 to 1 is what they arbitrarily assigned as the upper range. So 2.2 to 1, that would mean, for example, if your HDL was 50, then your triglycerides would be 110. It's not bad. If your HDL is 30, then your triglycerides are going to be pretty low. And I don't think anybody has a 1-to-1 ratio with an HDL down in the 25, 35 range. So I think that a higher ratio is okay if you have a lower number for your HDL. But you want a higher number for your HDL. Ideally, like mine, okay, my HDL is just under 80. My triglycerides are about 120, which gives me about a 1.5 to 1 ratio. But I love that. I love the 80. So I don't know how long, Anthony, how long along you are on this adventure, how much weight you've lost, how metabolically healthy you've gotten. But I certainly wouldn't worry about 2.2. There are people out there who have HDLs of 30 and triglycerides of 600. I'd be worried. I'd be worried at that point. So that's my 2 cents. That's my 2 cents on that. Meathead has a question. Did you convert Jonathan, Bags Packed Family Jonathan? I noticed he stopped by your place on their way to Alaska. Well, yeah, Meathead, I'm pretty sure I influenced Jonathan, okay? I'm pretty sure I influenced him because he's been watching my channel for a long time. I didn't convert him. He's pretty much always been on the carnivore bandwagon. His problem, and the reason that it's damn near impossible for him to actually adhere to it and be carnivore enough for it to really do any good, although he does eat a lot of meat, is twofold. If any of you out there who are watching are not familiar with Jonathan and the Bags Packed Family YouTube channel that he has a fairly large channel, I think about 250,000 subscribers, and he spent 9 years over in Indonesia with his wife and 3 children, and they traveled around to Thailand, Dubai, and all these different countries and did nothing mostly but eat. Visit all the street food places, the restaurants, the shops, and while some of that stuff may have been carnivore, pardon me, I can pretty well guarantee you most of it was not. And I watched any number of his videos, and it's crazy. And for sake of, let's say, artistic sake, the fact that Jonathan had to participate in this, it was very hard for him to remain carnivore, and it's especially hard because his wife is a vegan. Not just any old vegan, but pretty militant about it. She goes along with him. She'll cook him food, but she is just not having any of this stuff in her life. No meat, period. She's bought into the vegan doctrine, hook, line, and sinker. And they have 3 kids, and the kids are not really, I don't think, even conscious of what they're eating at their age. I don't think that they have learned either the vegan way or the carnivore way. I think they just eat whatever's around like most kids do, and they love the crap. They're always munching out of cellophane bags. So Jonathan's got a pretty hard road to go if he wants to be a strict carnivore. Now, he got up to Alaska. They moved to Alaska, got out of Indonesia. And he told me, when I get to Alaska, I am going to dedicate myself to being a carnivore. And so far, I think he's doing a pretty good job of it. But they still make videos up there. They still travel around to these different places with the family. And there's still that certain percentage of non-carnivore stuff. So I talk to Jonathan every Wednesday night. Become a friend of mine. He stopped to visit me. He came to Florida on his way to Alaska, and he stopped and we sat around, smoked cigars together, and decided it was a friendship that we wanted to maintain. And every Wednesday night, we get on with a video chat. He in his backyard in Alaska, me sitting in my screen porch on my famous ratty couch. We both fire up a cigar, and we talk for an hour or two. And I really enjoy it. So I'll tell him this Wednesday when I talk to him that everybody, that people were asking about him, and I'll ask him exactly how it's gone and how's his carnivore journey going. So there's a good answer to your question. But he's a great guy. Fortunately, Jonathan is one of these guys that is not a flaming carbohydrate addict. He's in great shape. He's 45 years old. Although on the trip from the time he got back to the States, for the 2 weeks it took them to drive to Alaska and make all the stops, he told me that he ate more junk than he'd eaten in a long time. He felt like shit. He put on weight. Everything hurt. And he was really beginning to suffer some of the symptoms of the poisoning that most people live with just as a routine part of life. And he seems to be doing better since he's gone back to a lot more meat in his diet and a lot less ultra-processed food. But when you're on the road like that, especially in some of those out-of-the-way places, that's all you can find to eat. In convenience stores and gas stations, truck stops, roadside restaurants. Some of them have something that resembles decent food, but Most of it is convenient shit for people to buy and just take out in mass quantities to their car so they can continue their nonstop eating for the entirety of their journey. So I'm down at the bottom of the chat right now, and I see Papa Carnivore was the last entry. What do you have to say, Peter? Yes, and now I'm experiencing weaning off my levothyroxine for hypothyroidism. Man, that's easy for you to say, Peter. I think I don't need it anymore. I'm experimenting with taking every other day, then less. That's a tricky thing, Peter. You always have that when you're trying to wean off medicine, to get your doctor to supervise it, it's like pulling teeth. Because in order to get your doctor to admit, I mean, this is just my feeling on the matter, to get your doctor to admit to you that because you changed your eating habits, something he never recommended to you, something that never crossed his educated doctor mind, something that he wouldn't even have considered as a possibility to normalize the condition that he prescribed these drugs for, because prescribing those drugs was the only acceptable course of action for him. And who could be silly enough to think that diet might have anything to do with health? That's not what they taught us in medical school. This is the mindset of your doctor. And to get him to say, okay, I think it's okay for you to stop taking this drug, is tacit to an admission from your doctor that I'm an idiot. I should have known better. I should have known to recommend a better diet to you. I should have known that this condition was not caused by something other than bad nutrition. I'm a doctor, for God's sake. I'm ashamed of myself. Newsflash, guys, any of you hear your doctor utter those words and apologize to you, please let me know. Let me know immediately. It may be the first time in the history of the world that that actually happened. Every once in a blue moon, a doctor actually wakes up to reality after he sees just enough proof of how wrong he is. Ken Berry had that awakening 10 years ago. A few other doctors have too. But most of them, they're a cog in the wheel of the machine that is the medical community, the medical system. They are firmly attached in the matrix. And until we start somehow accepting the reality that diet is not only a factor in our health, it is absolutely 100% the most important thing in our health. The one thing that we can change that fixes just about everything. So we don't have to treat all of those things separately, each with its own drug or series of drugs, which interact with all the other drugs we're taking for all the other conditions that are caused by bad nutrition and poisoning. So this is why we're here. This is the kind of thing we rail on about. And we know it's true. We see it. We see it person after person in our community. And you see the pictures, you hear the stories. And now Peter is trying to get off his drug. But certain drugs, and this is where the conundrum comes in, certain drugs, especially psychotropic drugs, you can't just quit cold turkey. It's very dangerous. Some drugs can take a year or more and have to be very carefully controlled as you wean off of them. As laymen, we may know that we're supposed to eat meat, but we are not doctors that have been educated in these drugs. So you have to have somebody, or you got to research it yourself really carefully to find out the recommendations for weaning off and what tests you may need to have along the way to find out if you're doing it too fast or not fast enough. So that's one area where our relationship with drugs may not be the greatest idea in the hands of an amateur that just knows I feel better because I'm eating meat. Anthony S. says, I need to wean off a doctor. Yeah. Well, we all need to wean ourselves off of these doctors. There are things that are probably prudent to check up on every once in a while. And as long as doctors stay away from metabolic advice, I'm fine with them. If I broke my wrist, I needed a doctor. I had a head injury and a brain bleed. I definitely needed a doctor. But all the metabolic conditions, I didn't need a doctor. They was just making things worse. More and more blood pressure pills. More and more advice to eat more fiber, which was just wrecking my digestive system. More and more advice to just eat more plants and more oxalates, which were just giving me kidney stones to the point of absurdity. So yes, I pretty much weaned myself off of doctors, but I do go once a year for a physical. I go to the VA. I get my lab work done, and I evaluate it. And then I go in and have an appointment with my doctor, and I tell her exactly what my conclusions are. She doesn't argue with me anymore. Not after all these years of knowing me. She tells me obligatorily, well, the VA insists that I make a note in your chart that I told you that I recommended a statin and that you refused. I said, "Atta girl, no problem." And that's where we leave it. And then we usually get to talking, and it's interesting because I usually end up lecturing her. She's a nurse practitioner. So while she's learned the allopathic side of medicine, she's learned when you see this condition, you prescribe that drug. And she's, legally allowed to prescribe drugs. What she hasn't learned, like somebody who had gone to medical school, is the biochemistry, the biology, the anatomy quite as much, all of that stuff, which is the stuff you really need to know, which most doctors seem to have conveniently forgotten. And there's a lot of good doctors out there too, good people, and a lot of people are coming around and they're actually practicing good medicine, but they're practicing it under the table. I think Ken Berry calls it like ninja medicine. You're keeping it a secret, hiding it from everybody, but doing it. They whisper under the table, all that shit I just told you, forget it. This is what you really need to do, but don't tell anybody I told you or I'll lose my license. It's very sad that we have that level of paranoia in the medical community today, but they're part of a big system. And that big system is run, we know who runs it. Big food, big pharma, and big religion, and big government runs the whole mess. And they have their enforcement mechanisms in place to punish those who disobey the word. And it's criminal. It is absolutely criminal. And you dare speak up about it, you get censored, banned, accused of things, prosecuted, get your license taken away, you get fined. How dare you? They label what your advice as misinformation. They label you as a dangerous person causing great harm by contradicting the eat more fruits and vegetables narrative. And there's nothing you can do about that because they control the narrative. They control what these puppets are saying on the news, the anchors. You can't fight that stuff. You can't fight that stuff. If Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been fighting this censorship his entire life because he's always taken up these causes about the vaccines and about the diet and about the food companies. And he has never been allowed to get his message out. If somebody of that stature can't get a message out, what chance does some old fart YouTuber who keeps saying, eat meat, chance do I have of getting this message out there? The good news is I'm so small and insignificant in the overall scheme of things that nobody has a real reason to go after me yet. Because believe me, they are going after the big guys. And they're threatening them and creating a lot of grief for them. And kudos for those of them that haven't buckled under that pressure. Still don't see any more questions. Bear with me a second. Yeah, I think doing 2 live streams a day is going to be a bit much. It's going to be a bit much. It can only be so spontaneous, I think. So I did want to show you. I did want to show you something funny, and let me cue it up here. Where is it? What did I do with it? Hang on a second. Hang on, people. Here you go. All right. Hang on one second, and I will cue this up. And this is my son and I and his wife out behind the house. We were out behind the house making fun of those weathermen. If you remember those weathermen that were always out standing next to the blowing palm tree, trying to make it seem a hell of a lot more dramatic than it really was. And this is it. This is not staged. This is not rehearsed. This is just us clowning around. Anyway. I'll give you an idea how windy it was out there. This was well before the eye got there. Woo! Ah, water. The water's blowing. Is it underwater? No, I don't know. It's definitely underwater. Well, it's definitely a spray, that's for sure. I'm trying to go that way. Wow. Woo! Look at the water. Look at the way the spray flowing in. And this, believe it or not, was probably about 40, maybe 40 mile an hour winds at that point. Okay. And that was us clowning around out there. But oh, Michael Seeley, oh my God, we just had our power restored. Life is returning. Hey, congratulations. My son texted me earlier today. No, was it this morning? I think it was this morning. That he got his power back. All these last couple of days have just gone into a blur. No, it was. I think it might have been this morning. Yeah, because I think it might have been out all day yesterday. I'll have to go look it up. But he was without power for a full day or more. So 6 o'clock to 6 o'clock Thursday morning to 6 o'clock Friday. He may have gotten it back late yesterday, but it was more than 24 hours. So, Michael, I'm glad to hear that you that you got yours back. Glad to hear it. I'm looking at the chat here. Question: could you please, from Ann B, spin us a good tune for calming effect, please? Oh, I don't know if I got a good tune here for calming effect. How's that? Oh, yeah, that'll work. There you go. Is that okay? I'll leave that play in the background a little bit. It starts to pick up, though. It's not so calming anymore. Anyway, there you go, B. We take requests. Question: do you ever eat? Margie Graves asks. Let me see if I can find Margie's thing over here. Where is it? 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 Margie, there it is. Question: do you ever eat beef tongue or heart? I really enjoy it. Bill Short in the Tooth Carnivore. No, I never ate tongue. It's just one of those things that when I was a kid, Jewish deli stuff was, that's where we grew up, Philadelphia, and everybody was eating tongue. It was just something you bought from the deli, and I just thought that doesn't sound like it's something I'd like, and I never even tasted it my entire life. I'm sure it's fine. I just always had these aversions to specific animal parts, so I didn't eat organ meat except for some liver. My mother used to make liver, and I ate that, but that was about it. And I'm sure that I have eaten plenty of that stuff mixed up in hot dogs over my life, because that's what they do with most of that stuff. It ends up in processed meat, like hot dogs and things, and in that respect, I think it makes hot dogs really good for us. Probably a nose to tail type of solution when you think about all the stuff they might grind up and put in a hot dog. But some of those, as long as they don't have fillers and sugar and soy, stuff like that, seed oils, sugar mixed in, which is unfortunately what they put in all hot dogs, it seems, these days, they got to be pretty good. They got to be pretty good. And Pat Ramirez agrees with me. He says beef tongue, yucky. Yes, Pat, you and I are on the same page there. Uh, Pat loves the music that I played. Great. Glad to hear that. And B loves it. Okay. I got to be very careful about playing music because YouTube will give me copyright strikes like crazy, even for stuff that shouldn't be copyrighted. I have to find some stuff that's just very obscure. And most of the stuff I have was actually recorded by people, musicians, that recorded it for me. But even then, something about the melody comes close enough to a few bars of a melody from a copyrighted song, and their software picks it up, and I get slapped with a revenue sharing or copyright thing. And I don't know. Tongue is great, says Satya. Yeah. A lot of people like it. Well, if it's in, Pat says, if it's in hot dogs, I eat tongue. Yeah, don't be surprised if you've eaten tongue. You've eaten heart, you've eaten toes, you've eaten all kinds of things that you would never want to admit that you've ever eaten. Love tongue, very rich flavor. Ate it frequently growing up, says Late Girl. Bill Streety from the Northwest Arkansas Ozarks. Good afternoon, he says. Welcome, Bill. And Anthony S. says hot dogs in the broiler, and B is not a beef tongue fan. Glenn Ish, ISCH, says, keep up with the morning videos. I'm on third shift. I watch them all. Well, that's great. And just because I happen to do a morning live stream, the replay's always there. Anybody, can always watch that. In fact, when I end up on these live streams, it ends up sitting around 500 views. And by the time it runs its course and people have watched the replays, it's usually between 1,500 and 2,000 views. So I would say 3 or 4 to 1 times as many people actually watch the replay as watch it live. Not everybody can watch it live. Not everybody watches the entire live. Absolutely nobody, I don't think, watches the entire replay. Maybe a very few people do, because these things tend to get kind of long. Diana Wardrip loves smooth jazz. My dad would bring in deli and rye pumpernickel bread, and he'd eat tongue. I never tried it. I love pastrami. Kim appreciates life. There's a nice name. I like that. Kim appreciates life. Where is that? Here it is. Look at that. When I was a kid, grew up in Philadelphia. I've told this story somewhere before. I lived in Northeast Philly. We were 4 streets away from the shopping street in Northeast Philly, where all the Jewish delis, bakeries, supermarket, all that stuff. And being Jewish, my grandfather would come over frequently on a weekend, and he'd spend the night at our house. He lived in West Philadelphia, just on the other side of the city, but he would come to visit with the family and his grandkids, and we had a ritual. And our ritual, and I'm talking about, I was 5, 6, 7, 8 years old around this time, just a little kid. And my sister, when I was 5, was 2.5. Maybe I was even younger, because we had this thing on Sunday morning, and I honestly still have vivid memories of this. We'd bundle up my baby sister in a stroller, so she must have been 1 or 2 years old at the most, and I probably was 4 years old. And we would walk the 4 streets, which was probably less than half a mile, but just seemed like a long walk. And the street's name was Castor Avenue. We'd go down to Castor Avenue, and we would go to the deli and then the bakery. And in the deli, we would buy all of the smoked fish. We'd buy lox, we'd buy smoked whitefish, we'd buy kippered salmon, we'd buy sable, smoked sable, all of that stuff. And then we'd go next door to the bakery and we'd load up on rye bread and pumpernickel and bagels and salt sticks and all of that stuff. And then we'd go home and have breakfast on Sunday morning. It was the best food I ever ate in my life, and I got hooked on that kind of stuff. And I think, unfortunately, that's when I became a carb addict, because of the bread, because of those Northeast water bagels. God, there's nothing better than those things. And nothing, I mean, we're talking about a loaf of rye that was still hot when you walked out of the bakery with it. You could almost get drunk on that stuff. It was so fresh. And I grew up eating that stuff, and I became an addict. And I think that's why I'm such a carb addict today, and why my carb addiction doesn't tend towards sugars. It tends towards grains. I'm not really tempted by that stuff, but even thinking about that stuff right now does stir up a little something in me, and I better stop talking about it. Not that I have any of that stuff around or could even find these days anything comparable to what they produced back in those days. I'm talking about in the early 1950s. I'm talking about 1951, 52. World's come a long way since that. That was 72, 73 years ago, and I still remember. I remember the deli. And in the deli, I don't know if any of you were old enough to remember delis like this. They had racks. And in those racks, they had these big metal tins of potato chips and pretzels and stuff like that. And they didn't sell them. You didn't buy them in cellophane bags. I mean, you could, but not the real potato chips, not the real pretzels. They came from the bakery in these big tins, and you bought them by the pound in the deli. And I still remember I would run up to the pretzel tin, and here I am, like 4 years old, I'm pulling, and I remember pulling the top off the pretzel tin, and they would let kids reach in and grab one for themselves. I mean, they weren't so paranoid about the sanitary nature of a child going near the food, that was part of the fun, is you got a chance to sample some things, and you just reached in and grabbed yourself a pretzel out of the tin. I think we lived in a privileged time, my generation. I think we lived in an era of unparalleled freedom, opportunity, and a minimum of oppression from government regulations, taxes, criminal politics, and all that. Not that everything was rosy. We certainly had our share of problems. We had just come out of World War II, for God's sakes. But when I look back at my business career, at the freedoms I had, at the freedom in banking that I had, at the lack of oppressive business-killing regulations that they have today, being under somebody's thumb without being able to move one way or the other, without getting permission first. I think we've lost that in this world, and it's very, very sad. I think our top priority has to be to regain that kind of a life where we become truly free again. We're not free now. We're not free. We need permission to go to the bathroom in this world, honest to God. Or worry about some reprisal from some agency, some police force, some taxing agency, some law firm, somebody watching our every move, ready to strike out at us and punish us for not adhering to what they think is, what the doctrine should be. And we have to be very careful, because here I go again. No politics. Think twice in November. I'll leave it at that. Think very hard. Like I said this morning, and I'll say it again. I don't care what any individual does. It's their business, not mine, and it's not their business what I do. I know everybody has their beliefs, and my idea of freedom is to allow everybody to have their beliefs without badgering them to change their beliefs. That's what freedom means. Allow people to believe what they want. And if they don't believe what you believe, then don't include them in your circle of friends, but don't try to change them. Don't try to fix them. That's not, if we want to, I mean, it may sound strange, but if we want to be ignorant assholes, in a free country, we have the right to be an ignorant asshole. Simple as that. And if people don't want to deal with us, they should stay away, and we'll stay away from them. But the business about trying to fix other people so that they can be like you, well, they're trying to fix you so that you can be like them, and there is the cause of all strife and conflict that we have that turns into wars. Live and let live. I do have opinions, just so you know. I have my political opinions. They're strong ones, stronger than most people. If your opinion doesn't agree with mine, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. We can still be friends. My sister, my own sister, couldn't be more diametrically opposed to me in any political manner whatsoever. She is so far on the other side of the spectrum from me that she loses her mind if I even make a hint at what my opinion is. I can't tell her what she should do, but even if I tell her what I think, she blows up at me. I can't talk. I'm not talking about that. I don't want to hear that. And I stop. Oh, no problem. Hey, believe what you want to believe. And yet we love each other. We love each other and we get along. And that's ideology. That's called ideology. You can't change somebody's ideology. The only way an ideology can change in a human being is through self-discovery and an eventual epiphany and seeing the light. And then how do you know which side is right and which is wrong? Because we all are some shade of gray, right and wrong, about different things. And even my side, I disagree with 50% of the shit that they put out. So I decided I don't want to change anybody's mind, but I can't help sometimes from expressing my opinion. And I'm allowed to do that. But I have to be careful, because even if I express my opinion, some people are so damn touchy that they attack me as if I'm trying to change their mind. So I have to make it very clear is that whether I like you or not, whether I want to have you around or not, is not dependent on your religion, and it's not dependent on your political affiliation. It's dependent on whether you are a kind, nice, and respectful person that doesn't try to find fault with me, doesn't try to tell me what I need to do, and can get along with other people and live and let live. I do it. I just want to be around people that allow me the same privilege. So if you hear me espouse or maybe slip up and let you know what side of the political fence I'm on, just say, okay, that's what Mitch believes. I'm not going to try to change his mind. He's not trying to change mine. I have never told you who to vote for. I've said things like, be very careful what you do in November, but that just means maybe investigate for yourself. And don't just listen to one side. I listen to everybody's side. And the more I listen to the other side, the more I'm convinced that it's propaganda and absurd and ridiculous shit that people believe. But again, that's just my opinion. I don't think there's any doubt in anybody's mind what side I'm on. But if there still is, then I'm maybe doing an okay job of not throwing it in your face all the time. Okay, so some chat. Ricky Lee, Mitch, I grew up in a Jewish home too. My gramps, I sure miss bagels, LOL, especially bagel sandwiches. Oh, yeah, God. So, Ricky Lee, there's more than one of us in here. That's great. Papa, Peter says, no one loves bagels more than me. I do miss bagels and bread. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the crap that people are eating today that in order to get their carbs, the chips, the Doritos, the sweet shit, the Little Debbie snack cakes. That stuff is pure styrofoam. It is horrible compared to what at least was real food. It may have been made from grains, but it was real food. It was baked. It didn't have all kinds of chemicals and shit in it. It had real ingredients in it. Unfortunately, those ingredients were very high glycemic and rapidly absorbable carbohydrates and made us all fat and made us all carb addicts. But they were good. Well, that's the ultimate definition of a carbohydrate addict, is when the thought of eating those foods brings on the anticipation of such pleasure, then you know you're addicted. That's what addiction does. The Antique Action Figure says, question, I just missed you with this question yesterday. Could carnivore be clearing up the bruises on my old man arms? Yeah, it could. And it has cleared up all the bruises on my arms, except when I re-bruise my arm. I'll show you here. Let me show you this one. See this one here? That wasn't there 2 days ago. And I knew that was going to bruise. I was out of my storage shed where my workshop is. I have a little attic area pulled downstairs, and I keep suitcases and other stuff up there. The edges of that, the wooden trim on the edges, have a very sharp edge. And every damn time I climb up in there with an armful of shit trying to bring it down, I scrape my forearms on that wood. And I just did a hell of a number on myself the other day getting all the plastic tubs down out of there. And right after I scraped my arm, I said, oh my God, that's going to bruise. And it did. And interestingly enough, that was 2 days ago. It was almost black. It was so dark. It has lightened up at least 50 or more % since then. In 3 or 4 days, that bruise will be completely gone. And if you look at generally, you look at my skin, I had skin that was very easy to bruise, except for this little blemish, which has been there for a long time. And I've had that even before I was old. But if you look at my skin, it's not bruised. And most men my age, especially thin men, because your skin gets very thin when you age and bruises more easily when it's thin. That's a testament. That's a testament right there to exactly, look at the skin on my hands. My hands are thin, but I don't think that for, pushing 80 years old, I have what look like old man's hands. Do you think so? I don't think so. So, yes, in answer to your question, Antique Action Figure, I think that as far as your skin goes, you can't do anything better for it than Carnivore. And I think I looked older 10 years ago than I do now when I look at my skin. But I'm still 77 years old. I'm not going to look like a 40-year-old. I don't care what I do. And I'm not going I have people all the time. They tell me that they, hang on, let me get a picture up here real quick. Let me find just that picture here. This is the one that I want. And let me make it big for you here. Hang on one second. Let me make it big. This is the picture that people always comment on, okay? This is me today. I don't think I'm bad looking considering this body that I have here with the coffee cup, this big belly here, a big flabby chest, nice jowls there, and big chubby cheeks. That's how I looked most of my life. Other than the few times I managed to, well, the 10 or 15 times, I managed to get thin, managed to lose weight. And most of the pictures I have of myself, you know, with clothes on from back then are at those points where I was at the low point, because I never took many pictures of myself when I was heavy, but I spent a great deal of my life looking like this. And people will say, I don't know, Mitch. You looked so much better when you were heavier. Well, here's a news flash for you, folks. Over here, 75 years old. Over here, 55 years old. 20 years. I don't care who you are. 20 years, you're going to look younger. And I still to this day, because these pictures are in one of my old videos that says, this is me then and now. It's one of my better performing videos. A lot of people watch it. And I still get comments to this day. I don't know, Mitch, you looked a whole lot healthier back then. Well, back then was 20 years ago. Healthier I wasn't. God, I was definitely not healthy. I had a bad back, bad knees, high blood pressure. I was 40 or 50 pounds heavier than I am now. I don't think I had kidney stones yet, but one thing I did have, which I'm going to show you here. I did have, can you see that spot right there on my nose? This was 20 years ago. I had that spot, and I used to ask my doctor, what is that? What is that spot? And because I was always worried about skin cancer. And he would tell me it was just like a freckle, he says, just hyperpigmentation. And I had that spot, and all of a sudden it started getting darker. And I said, that's a sign of skin cancer. I better get it checked. So I went and had it checked. They did a biopsy. It turned out to be a malignant melanoma, which is, to put it delicately, the skin cancer that kills you. And if you're lucky enough, you catch it early before it metastasizes. And I was lucky. I caught it very early because I noticed a real change in the way it looked and jumped right on it. I had surgery. I did have surgery. And where is that picture? Do I have it here? I have a picture of me with my whole nose covered with a bandage. where I had the surgery. I don't have it. I don't have it here in this folder, but no. But I did have. I did have to have it removed. I've told this story many times, but a lot of people may be new here, didn't know it. But if you look at my nose carefully, you can see that it's indented. And the indentation is basically the whole entire center of my nose. And that's what they had to cut out for that little spot in the center to make sure that they got the margins around it. They had to cut me from up here to right down here, and from this side all the way over to that side. Remove that skin. On my shoulder back here, they cut out a pretty nice sized piece of skin, and they grafted that skin onto my nose, and this is what I was left with. Not that bad looking. It's not gorgeous. I'm thrilled that, and this was about 8 or 10 years ago, or 8 years ago that I had this, so I'm long past the point where we have to look out for, the fact that, is it really gone? It is gone. It's not coming back. They caught it in time. And I have some funny skin on my nose, but no spot anymore. In fact, there were people that used to call me Spot. It was kind of a nickname. Hey, Spot, how you doing? Because of that spot right in the center of my nose. But had I been a carnivore back then, and this is the interesting part, had I been a carnivore, probably would not have become cancerous. It probably would have just stayed hyperpigmented skin. And the reason I know that is because of that, and because it was cancerous, I had to go back to my dermatologist like every 3 months for a few years, just to be checked to make sure that no cancer had metastasized anywhere. And he gave me a pretty good examination, including feeling all the lymph nodes and glands and all that other stuff and taking a real close look. And every time I would go back to the doctor, he'd come out with a can of liquid nitrogen, because we get precancers on our head. Most men will tell you this, bald-headed men will tell you that they get these precancers and they freeze them off with some liquid. And I would go into the dermatologist routinely, and he would always find 4 or 5 of those spots on my head, and he'd be freezing them off, and these were precancers. Since I became a carnivore, this is interesting. I've been back to the dermatologist 2 or 3 times. He's never found a precancer on my head. I honestly believe all the new research showing that cancer is a metabolic disease, and that by living a clean lifestyle of eating nothing but fat and meat, that the cancer cells don't take hold. They don't. Your metabolism is working, and you're making as much as any human being can. You're making yourself cancer-proof, because cancer was not that big a deal way back before people's diets got screwed up like they are today. The instances of cancer were very rare, and so were the instances of heart disease and diabetes. So again, this adventure with my nose, I can blame on all the sugar and the poisons and the seed oils and the other things that allow certain cells to get out of control and become cancerous. It was a very inconvenient and uncomfortable thing to have to go through. And the whole time I was going through it, I would say, why the hell couldn't you have happened up here? Why right in the middle of my friggin' nose did you have to happen? Pick that one spot on my body right there, right in the middle of my face, to have cancer. And so I guess, and I don't talk about that a lot when people say, well, what did carnivore cure for you? Because carnivore did not cure. Carnivore didn't cure my cancer. Surgery cured my cancer. It would have, I think, prevented my cancer. But on my list of medical things that I have had cancer. I had a deadly form of cancer And I suppose, like everybody else, I actually can claim I'm a cancer survivor, because I am. In any definition of surviving cancer, I survived malignant cancer. I had a malignant cancer and I survived. So I'm a cancer survivor. And it's something you don't ever hear me say, because I can't attribute it to carnivore. But I can attribute normalizing my blood pressure to carnivore, stopping my rheumatoid arthritis in its tracks, stopping all my aches and pains, dissolving my kidney stones so that they don't bother me anymore, completely healing my screwed up digestive tract, diverticulosis, all of the discomfort and misery that I had, constipation all my life, is now completely normalized. So I can credit carnivore for reversing virtually everything other than the cancer. And I can say almost assuredly that had I been a carnivore, I would not have gotten this skin cancer. In fact, it's the opposite is true now. The more time I spend out in the sun, I think the healthier it is for me. I used to avoid the sun, like everybody would say. Dark sunglasses, wear floppy hats and long sleeve shirts. I looked like Ramar of the jungle when I used to go out in the sun, when I used to go fly my model airplanes. And I still got the cancer on my nose, because that's the one part. I used to put sunscreen all over my face and everything. It's crazy. It's crazy. Matt Strulin. Some kroners for me. Thank you so much, my friend. Super sticker. I appreciate that as always. And you can't see. I got to show you the sticker here if you can see it. Hang on a second. I can see it on this other chat here. Do you see it right here? It's cute as hell. You see, little guy he's turning his hat around backwards and giving a thumbs up. Oh man, that's great. I hadn't seen that one before. I like that. On this, when I put up the chat here on the screen, this is StreamYard's version of it, and it doesn't show the colors and some of the cool graphics that come. I think you saw that in your own feed. I think you should have seen. No, it didn't show up in the feed here. I wonder why. I'm looking at yeah, there it is. It did show up in the, so you all saw that. You all saw looks like an alligator or something or a doggy turning his hat around, give it a thumbs up. Very cute, Max. Thank you so much. Very much appreciated, my friend. So at any rate, that's what I think carnivore has done for me. And I see Nomadia Van. It's become my new best friend today. Still handsome as ever, Mitch. Aren't you sweet? I hope you're a girl. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. Papa Carnivores, they're talking about subs. And the children are chiming in here. Turamir Carnivore says, I will be 46 next month, I was told. Turamir, 46. I've got shoes that are older than you, my friend. And and I say that, and that's not a joke. I actually still have some shoes from back when I was in the Army 60 years ago. 55 years ago. I don't wear them anymore, but I still got them. It's crazy. Be 46. My son is 54 now. This scares the shit out of me. Papa Carnivore's talking to Aunt B. I didn't see the entry, but evidently Aunt B says that she may something about skin cancer, and Peter says you got to stay on top of it. Skin cancer can kill you. Anthony asks, my insurance does not cover lab tests for skin cancer. Well, the lab test for skin cancer is a biopsy. I cannot imagine that any insurance company that provides health insurance would not cover a cancer biopsy. I don't know how your doctor may be coding that procedure or who your insurance company is, but that something about that doesn't sit right. Anthony, you're probably right. I'm sure you know better than I do, but and you can't just tell people, well, get a new insurance company, you know. It's like somebody telling me, hey, you don't like your internet provider, get a new one. Yeah, at the same time I'm getting a new water utility company and a new electric company for my house, I'll get a new internet provider too. You know, sometimes we're just pretty well stuck with the only thing that's available to us, and unfortunately insurance is becoming like that, and especially homeowners insurance now in Florida. Can you imagine what's going to happen next year to the homeowner insurance premiums and the availability of homeowners insurance and the additional exclusions that they're going to be putting in these policies of things they don't have to pay for? Because if they had to be on the hook for some of the things that just happened to us in the past couple of weeks, nobody could provide the insurance. Nobody could meet the fiduciary requirements, the amount of reserves, to adequately ensure that they could meet their financial obligations if we ever had another repeat. I think we're up to, combination of the two storms, losses of $350 to $400 billion. It's staggering. It's staggering. 350 to 400 billion. And Helene, the first storm, is way ahead of Milton now. But Milton's going to catch up as we begin to discover more and more damage. It was horrendous, both of these things. And now they're trying to get us to view their videos about the next storm with scary, clickbaity sounding titles. Another one coming, watch out. It's not over yet, blah, blah, blah. And there is another storm forming down there in the same place that the last two formed. But it's not coming to Florida, and the worst that'll happen is it'll go to Central America. Now, not that I wish these storms on Central America, but don't, stop with the alarmism until there's something, at least an inkling of a reason to suspect that it might happen. But you know how everybody is these days. Jump on those headlines, looking for those views, sell those ads, scare the shit out of you, make you worry. There's also one brewing off the coast of Africa, but it's going to go north in the Atlantic and not bother anybody. Well, fellas, do me a favor. I know you need the clicks and views on your weather YouTube videos, but spare me. Spare me the alarmism. If you already know, and all the different climate models match up, that this thing brewing off of Africa is going to take a right turn and head up in the open ocean and bother nobody, or at worst, it's going to bother the people in the far eastern Caribbean, then put that in the title of your video. Far Eastern Caribbean might be in for another big storm. But stop making us all panic. But that's what they do. That's our whole YouTube and television news infrastructure is built on creating panic, so that you'll have to tune in and have to watch and continue to watch all those lawyers commercials and drug company commercials and car dealer commercials. So I'm not worried about any more weather, but we are going to be seeing a lot of ramifications from these two storms, and the cleanup and recovery from these things is going to be years. We're still, believe it or not, recovering from Hurricane Ian that hit Fort Myers 2 years ago. They're still rebuilding, and they just got all wiped out again. And yet we all want to live in Florida. And we all want to live in Florida. Yeah, isn't it great? I want to live in Florida. Antique Action Figure says the top of my ear looks like Trump's, but from squamous cell carcinoma. Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know. I'd almost rather be shot than have cancer, but neither one of them is a pleasant alternative. I love reading the chat. I love reading the chat. Somebody has a birthday. Whose birthday is it? Happy birthday, beautiful lady. Some lady has a birthday. Okay, I'm narrowing in on it. And B, I had a Kim Appreciates Life. I had a basal cell a few years ago and had radiation immediately. Don't wait. Yeah, B. Listen to me. This is my serious look. Is that scary? You know, certain things you don't mess with. You don't mess with. And skin cancer is one of them. It's very insidious. I've lost some friends, believe it or not, to skin cancer. I mean, of all the things to kill you, skin cancer. If they catch it early, it's a no-brainer. It's just, you know, sometimes they can just get rid of it with a little liquid nitrogen, freeze it off. You hardly even feel it. Spike is here. Oh, man. I'll tell you, this world of ours, first of all, good night, mate. How are you, Spike? For some strange reason, over the course of the last 5 years, and especially during my YouTube adventures as a drone channel, I had the privilege of meeting what you would characterize as some real characters. To a lot of people, I'm a character. And I proudly wear, if anybody thinks I'm a character, to me that means I'm unique. I'm different. To me, that's a compliment. When somebody says, you're a real character, Roy, I say, thank you. Well, one of those characters is Spike Warner, who goes by the YouTube handle iSpike. ISPIKE. Spike lives in the outback in Australia. I think it's in the outback. It's over on the west coast of Australia. He's a biker who has a custom big Harley trike. He looks like a biker. He dresses like a biker. He's not a young man, but he was a drone guy. And we all got to know Spike because he started making drone videos. And then he went ahead and built this fabulously equipped studio to do YouTube videos. And he would do the equivalent of radio shows, but they all had kind of a biker theme, and the music was kind of biker type rock and roll, and he was just a big rock and roll guy, and the nicest, sweetest man that you would ever want to meet in your life. It's the kind of guy you're proud to call a friend. And Spike and I kind of became friends, and his nickname for me was Uncle Mitch. And he look at his let me put up his he's 62 years old now. Oh, you're still. But let me read his answers. Fear mongering, Spike. I love the guy. He used to come on my live streams. I used to go on his live streams. We haven't talked in a long time, and every once in a while he pops up on my channel here and says hello. And he always says, here it is, a huge good day, Uncle Mitch. And there are people that call me Professor Mitch, and Spike always called me Uncle Mitch. And Spike, I love you like a brother, man. You know that. You know that. And I'm sure you're still on YouTube, and if you're not, you need to get back. But I'm sure your channel is still up, and all your old videos are up, and any of the people that watch me, if you want to just have a great time and see something unlike anything you've ever seen before, you got to go and watch some of the old Spike videos, whether they're biker stuff or drone stuff or whatever, or just Spike playing DJ. He's he's outrageous and entertaining, and like I say, one of the most decent people that I've ever had the privilege of meeting. You're right, Spike. He says, hey, Mitch, what is your take on the weather manipulation thoughts? Spike, the jury is still out on that. I wouldn't put anything past them. But whether they actually even have the science or the ability to make big or effective changes in the weather by seeding and certain things, I don't know. I don't know. And the reason I don't know is because no matter what you hear from either side of the argument, it's impossible to know at this point what's propaganda and what's truth. So I can't know. I can't know. And I would only say that when I see a storm that's this big or this bad, and they tell me that it's the worst storm since 1819, they're telling me that over 100 years ago there was a storm that was worse than this one, then I have to say, so what's new? So what's new? We haven't broken new ground from what happened 100 years ago, which is why you don't hear the term global warming anymore. It's now climate change, because we're not warming anymore. It's all cycles. And the cycles, there's a lot of different cycles. There's a solar cycle, that's 11 years, while the sun comes and goes through its phase of getting a little hotter or getting a little closer, whatever. Then you have the Milankovitch cycle, which is over 100 years, which brings into account other factors like the tilt of the Earth and its axis and positioning in space. And there are cycles that go over thousands of years that are pretty routine if you look at a long enough graph. And all this shit that's happening is explainable by analyzing these different cycles. Maybe a little more CO2 in the atmosphere affected it a little bit, but it's not. It's like throwing a pebble in the ocean when there's a hurricane going on. Yeah, the pebble does affect it a little, but the hurricane is what's making the waves go. And there's a whole school of thought, going to be going on climate change, we'll be here all night. There's a whole school of thought that talks about the levels of CO2 in the atmosphere as being so dangerously low that up until the Industrial Revolution, and this is a great argument, and the facts are there to back it up, and so are the figures. Up until the Industrial Revolution, we were reaching an extinction level of low carbon dioxide, meaning we were down to almost, below 200 parts per million in this atmosphere. And at 150 parts per million, life ceases to exist on this planet. The carbon dioxide in the atmosphere gets sequestered. It gets sequestered in rocks. It gets sequestered in the ocean. And we've had these cycles over long periods of time. The CO2 concentration in the atmosphere of the Earth has been discovered to have been as high as 5,000 parts per million. And during those times is when we had the greatest explosions of life on this planet, the Cambrian explosion, the time when things just blew up and started growing, because the plant life thrives on CO2. there wasn't enough oxygen around to support the animal life like we have today. And it wasn't until the carbon dioxide levels got so high that the plants started growing like crazy. They started producing the oxygen. Then the oxygen levels start to go up. Then animals who live on oxygen could start to thrive. And that's how we got here. But a few hundred years ago, the CO2 levels were getting down to the bottom of the barrel. And along we come, and we start burning oil, and we have an industrial revolution. And we managed, with all of our pollution and all of our poisonous carbon that everybody claims we're putting into the air, we managed to get the CO2 levels from 200 and something up to 300 and something parts per million. Now, mind you, they've been as high as 5,000. So we made just enough of an improvement, added just enough carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere to keep us from, for every living thing on this planet, from dying. Now, does anybody give us credit for that? No, we're polluters. We need to stop putting the carbon in the atmosphere. These people are morons, unable to see a big picture in virtually anything except their own political aspirations and agendas. And they figure that the rest of us are stupid enough to buy into it. And you know what? The rest of us seem to be. I'm not the only person that thinks like this. And you can tell that it is frustrating to just know what bullshit you hear and what's out there and what they're saying. Anyway, back to Spike. I don't want to be mad, Spike. Good day, Uncle. Spike, the feeling is mutual, my friend, and one of these days, and we need to do it, oh, you're going to be back on the air by Christmas. Okay, man, I'm going to look for you. And we need to just get on a video chat and catch up one of these days. We just need to do that. So I will put it down on my list of things that I really want to do, and I'll get in touch with you. Great to see you, my friend. Always great. And anybody, just go watch Spike's videos. And you'll understand when I define the meaning of a true character. You'll see exactly what I mean. Love you, man. Take care. Jerry Vajtis, 62 over there as well. God, all you youngsters out there. Tammy Petart, 64, another youngster. Spike, 63 in June. Holy cow. And Jody knows Spike real well from the drone days. Yeah, you remember drone shots, Spike, don't you? Yeah, that's great. That's great. Great to see you here, man. What a great surprise. Sherry Morgan is here too. How you doing? Sherry, how you doing, sweetie? I missed you so far. Good to see you. Always good to see you. Well, we really haven't dropped off too much, and Curry started his live stream 45 minutes ago, I guess. So thank you all for sticking with me. I got 100 of you here. Getting on to about an hour and 45 minutes. Again, time just flies by. But I am going to I enjoyed that morning live stream so much this morning that I'm going to do it again tomorrow morning. Probably Monday morning, and then Wednesday and Friday. So for the next couple of days, we'll keep it up and see what happens. I did have another little video to show you from our escapades out by the pool. So let me get this one up, and let me tell you what this was. I was just clowning around, trying to do the old weatherman in front of and I was trying to get a short take, so I did it a couple times. But I'll show it to you anyway, because I'm not ashamed of it. And there's me, all windblown. Let me get that out of the way, and let me turn the sound on and start it. hell out here. It's blowing like hell out here. Look at this palm tree. Holy cow. And the hurricane hasn't even gotten here yet. Whoa! Whoa! Anyway, that I was going to take one of those little clips, 3 or 4 seconds. It's blowing out the hell out here. You stick it in a video somewhere or something, but that's what we do to try to lighten up the tension. And again, at that point in time, it was blowing 35, 40 miles an hour, and that was about it. When that eye wall went through, even just as a Cat 1, I'm telling you. It was early in the morning, 5 o'clock or so. I was still in bed, and the sound of what was going outside was violent. I did get good news about the tree that went down in front of my house. The park, the community is going to clean all that stuff up, so I don't need to get out a chainsaw and become a lumberjack, which is very nice. So that was something I don't have to do, which I thought I might have to do. So let's see what we got here. I'm going to go down to the bottom of the chat. I don't think we got any more serious. Spike says, you decided to stay, you man. It's great to see all you guys talking to each other. Just great. Yeah, a lot of conversations going on there. Anthony S. says, Weatherman Mitch. Well, if I'm a pilot, I know a little bit about the weather. But I do know about history. I know how it got here. I know I can grasp how long a billion years is. Most people can't. Most people don't think in those terms. They think in terms of a lifetime, maybe is a long time for them, maybe 2 lifetimes. They can't comprehend those long stretches of time. 1 billion years, 2 billion years, 3 billion years. Most people can't comprehend what 1 million years means, which is why everybody's so confused about how we got here, about how something as fabulous as life itself could have happened, because there was more than enough time for it to have happened. That's not what the religions tell us. And people are happy with that explanation. And if you're happy with that explanation, I'm happy for you. Whatever floats your boat, whatever makes you comfortable, whatever makes you feel secure and happy, you're better off than a lot of people are. I don't want to change your mind. But you can't change my mind either. Many of you try. Looking at the chat here. Okay, my friends, I'll tell you what. 10 minutes to, I don't really have a whole lot more to say. Kim appreciates life, says, make meat great again. Oh, yeah. MMGA, Papa Carnivore. Peter says, that's a great slogan. Spike says, I am here now, have always been and always will be. Yes, sir, my friend, and we're happy to hear this. Anthony S. chimes in with some words of wisdom. Plants, yuck. At any rate, my friends, I think I've reached the end of my supply of words for this afternoon. And we're getting close to 2 hours. I've got dinner waiting for me. So everybody start to say goodbye to each other. Give you a few minutes to do that. I will have myself a little drink of water. I think I've done enough talking today for all of us. Ah, yeah. I'll give you a little. And Spike, I know my studio is nothing like your studio, but that's what I'm dealing with. I do have a Rodecaster Duo. I know you got the Pro, or I do have an Elgato Stream Deck. I have 3 cameras. I have a side camera over here, a front camera, and a rear camera. So you're still my hero, though, Spike. When it comes to studios, I'm trying to catch up, but it works great. And I know you appreciate this music. I know you like blues, man. And Sherry Morgan. Thank you so much, Sherry. And now you're asking me a question. What is the most meat you can eat in one sitting? About how much do you eat at the Brazilian restaurant? I ate probably 1.25 pounds, maybe 1.5 pounds. I could eat 2 pounds, but it's uncomfortable for me. That's why I eat 2 meals a day instead of 1. I think it's a much better way to be. I think that to overstuff yourself just to get it all in one meal, I don't think is as smart as splitting it up over maybe 4 hours. You still get plenty of intermittent fasting, and you get the pleasure of eating 2 meals and not killing yourself. So I try to eat 1 pound of food twice a day. My bacon and eggs is about 1 pound of food, and my second meal of the day, whether it be fish, beef, hamburger, steak, chicken thighs, or whatever, is always 1 pound. And it seems that when I get done with that pound of food, I am satisfied, but not uncomfortable. And you do this enough times and it becomes a routine, and you learn. And I very rarely have any leftovers when I'm finished eating. But also, I very rarely am still hungry and want some more. Just works out. But thank you so much, Sherry. And how much I can eat might not be right for you. I mean, I weigh 136 pounds. If somebody comes along weighing 275, quite obviously he's going to need more food than I need. And Spike, you old coot, look at you. Thank you, my friend. A super chat from Spike. Well, get your ass back on the air, my friend, so that I can give you a super chat. And you make sure I know when you're ready to go back on YouTube, because I want to be there, okay? I want to be there. I don't want to miss that. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for that. Means more than you can imagine. And I hope things are going well for you. So I think that's about it, everybody. 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 40 seconds since I pressed the go live button. So I think we're pretty well done. Pretty well done. And to my friend iSpike and Jody Drone Shots and all the carnivore people that have become friends, thanks for coming. Always Enjoyed it as always. Always enjoyed your company. Intelligent, interesting conversation, and the opportunity for me to rant a little. Who could ask for more, huh? So with that all being said, and knowing that I'll be back tomorrow morning at 8:30 on Sunday morning, and I have added a new accoutrement to my set outside, which I'll surprise you with tomorrow morning. Till then, take the rest of the day off and eat meat.